Hello, everybody, all Move, Think, Smile followers, and everybody in our public support group, the Elite Performance Group. It's Adam Von Inns coming at you live, along with the co-founder, the original founder of Move, Think, Smile, the ever beautiful and amazing Elea And today, guys, we want to come, and talk about something we're seeing kind of like happen over and over again with a lot of people that we're talking to, and we call it the cylinder trap. And think about it like this, if you're struggling out there to increase your energy and you're trying to hack through this fatigue, you're trying to hack your performance, you're trying to do all these hacks in order to just make some really cool stuff happen with your productivity and your performance, supplements, productivity apps, time management apps, maybe it's more coffee, but nothing's really working. You might be stuck in this thing that we call the cylinder trap. And, Elliot, explain how this works.
Yeah. So basically we're looking at, everyone's like, okay, I tried this supplement or I tried this diet, or they really just focus in on one thing that they feel like is going to fix it all. Right. And what's so fascinating and what we know about fatigue is that, it's not just like a magic pill. There's not just this one thing you can do to get yourself firing on all cylinders. You really have to work on each one. Right.
Right. So this is great. So think about it like this, guys. If your life is a V8 engine, okay, you want your life firing on all cylinders, not just one or two of them. So oftentimes what will happen is we'll get so wrapped up in it's like, okay, there's something not right. It's not going on. Maybe I've gained a little bit of weight. Maybe I'm just being fatigued, but something's not right. And I want to get back to where I was. I want to get my mojo back. I want to get my edge back. So what we often do is we go out there and we copy what has been successful for other people. And so, for instance, a great example would be like the keto diet. Like everybody needs to be on a keto diet because it's going to fix everything in the universe. And while it may have had success for some people, there are a lot of people that have actually gone on the keto diet, way more that have not had success than have had success. And I think this is very important to understand. And so what ends up happening is you'll go to say, let's say you're dealing with a little bit of anxiety. You'll go see the psychiatrist or psychologist. They'll give you an anti-anxiety med. So they work on cylinder number 3. You got some muscle aches, you got some back aches. You'll go to massage therapy and they'll work on cylinder number 5 and they'll kind of get you loosened up and things like that. And then, maybe you're like, you know what, I could lose some weight. So then you go and you get a diet plan or a self-help book or something like that. And you work on cylinder number 1. And what ends up happening is you end up working in all these different cylinders, but none of the cylinders are really talking to each other, and nor are the people who are helping you with those cylinders. So we often think is if I just fix this one cylinder, that my life is going to be this amazing thing. And oftentimes they will see some relief. They'll get the cylinder, they'll grease it up, they'll get it smooth, they'll bore out any of the dirt and debris in there, and they'll get it firing properly. But then there's other cylinders going on that aren't happening. And then in rare occasions, and Ellie, you could talk about this, in rare occasions, we'll see people where they will actually get their engine completely fine-tuned, right? All the cylinders are working. They're all speaking to each other, and this thing's ready to bust out 1,000 horsepower. But the fuel going into it is bad. Mm-hmm. And so they're just not getting the performance they want. They're just not getting the results they want. And this is what we call the cylinder trap. And that makes sense, right?
Yeah, it makes a lot of sense. And, that was one thing I was going to say is that for a lot of people, we immediately go to, what are the things that I am putting in my mouth, right? What are the things that I can eat, the supplements that I can take? We tend to immediately just go to, there you go. You don't have all that light splash on your face. We immediately tend to go to, again, what is that magic thing? Is it more kale? Is it more, B12? Is it more B6? And we get blinders on and we really start, whittling down into these little areas. And so, one thing that we really talk a lot about and, work a lot with our clients are the things that don't go in your mouth, the things that, you don't do to your body, like acupuncture or massage or things like that. It's really about the other areas of your life. And a lot of times people don't realize it's like, wow, sometimes, relationships can drain your energy, or the work that you're doing, or, the stuff that you aren't doing in certain other areas of your life.
Well, that's a great example because, so many people put a focus on what they can see, right? You can see wrinkles around the eyes. You can see weight coming onto the body. You can see bags under the eyes if you're really tired. And so they'll go and look, I need to fix this one cylinder. But some of the things they can't see is what's going on inside the body. Like what's actually going on with the brain. Is the brain worried or not? You know, the brain has two levels of worry. There's the conscious worry where you know, it's like, I'm afraid of something happening, or I'm feeling depressed, or I'm feeling frustrated, or I'm feeling whatever it is. That automatically triggers a cascade of things that go on in the body, the stress response, chemicals, cortisol, epinephrine, and all these things that happen. And for anybody out there who is concerned about having a strong immune system, one of the things that you can do to boost your immune system more than anything else on the planet is to deal with the stress and get it out of you. Is to be able to crush that stuff for breakfast, you know, conquer those obstacles. And then what ends up happening is that, you know, we focus on all these little things and we forget that this engine, right? The cylinders, in order for this thing to produce 1,000 horsepower, it's all interrelated.
Yep.
You can't have just one cylinder firing. You got to have them all working. You can't have just all of them working and put bad fuel into it. And if the computer's off and the sensors are off, like everything's got to be running properly in order for this to happen. And I think people get caught into this cylinder trap by focusing like, if I just this one thing, if I just add more protein to my diet, or if I just get more vitamin D, I'm taking vitamin D now because I was low in vitamin D and that's going to fix everything. You know, and it doesn't. And it doesn't.
You know, one thing too that you know, it's a trap I've fallen into before, and I see people falling into, is not only the one cylinder concept with, you know, the fix, but also one cylinder in that, you know, I can't take time away from work. I can't give myself XYZ. They're really just trying to, you know, work is got to give them everything, right? They're trying to get all of their sense of fulfillment and purpose and, you know, excitement and all these things from one place. You know, it's work, 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 work. And then they get home and they don't have any energy for the most important people in their life, or for hobbies, or for really living. And so, you know, one thing that happens is, again, we get so focused on that one cylinder, work. Got to get it done. So much to do, right?
Well, right. And I think it is important, like, if we look at it, like, I think there's kind of like three areas here. And the first is, this is where people forget, or don't really realize, like, everybody's so focused on all these different diseases. Everybody's focused on all these different chronic health problems. All these people are focused on all these different things. They're focused on all these different cylinders. I mean, if you actually looked at all the cylinders that people look at, it's probably 1,000 cylinder engine. But there are not all of these different diseases. There's just one. There's just one problem. And that is the body is out of balance.
Yeah.
The body is out of balance. And the minute the body gets out of balance, whatever your genetic gun is, your body gets out of balance. It pulls the trigger. Next thing you know, you're dealing with insert problem here. You know, some of the bigger ones are heart disease and diabetes, and there's weight gain, there's obesity. I don't know if you guys know this, but there's a direct link between the more weight you gain, the smaller your brain gets. And if you haven't seen that study, that's pretty crazy. But I think what's important here to understand is that you're a complex biocomputer. And if you think about it, you know, human bodies, our computer, they're beyond NASA. They're beyond particle accelerators. Think about it. They maintain your temperature. Your eyes open up when the light goes dim. Your pupils when the light gets bright, they go down. You blink when you need to. Pregnancy, that takes a crazy biocomputer to make that happen. You know, 1 trillion cell divisions in 9 months to make that happen. Giving birth. Being able to just regulate your heart rate, breathing, digestion. Like, your body is so entwined together as this one giant biocomputer system that if you get stuck in the cylinder trap, you get frustrated, right? Yep. And if you think about it, no computer can do what our bodies can do except our own biocomputer. And you want to understand that the genius and the design that goes behind this thing. So when something goes wrong with your energy, right? And almost anything that goes wrong leads to your energy decreasing. When fatigue starts coming up, I mean, it's really an alarm system. It is unlikely that the computer has a programming error. Your body is such a magnificent biocomputer. It's very unlikely it has a programming error because it is the best computer in the world by far. What is happening is that the computer circuits are burning up because of the owner of the computer. And think about it. It's like, you or people that we talk to, we see are often stressing the computer out too much by lifestyle choices, by the inappropriate handling of what people call stress. They'll go out there and they'll say, I'm doing stress management, but yet they're just dealing with a lot of problems. They're not making the progress they want. Sometimes it's not as big. It's just like they work, but then they don't have a life. And they're like, well, yeah, I just want to get out there and date again, or I just want to get out there and do something. It's like, but you're not making any time for it. And, and people are stressing themselves out. They're not sleeping. And then lo and behold, the wires on your circuit board, the wires inside your computer, they start smoking. And, some symptoms start to pop up. And this is what's really interesting is it's different for every person. It all depends on your environment that you're in. It depends on your genetic code. The symptoms pop up. People like, pop some Advil or, rub some stuff on the muscles or, maybe if I just don't drink or eat as much ice cream, I'll be better. But oftentimes they just don't pay attention. Then the symptoms get worse. And then pretty soon there's a fire in the computer room.
Yeah.
And then that fire, what we noticed is that the fire in the computer room occurs in two places. Where the genetic weakness is from the parents. That's your genetic gun, right? Your trigger gets pulled. And then where you're being abusive to your own body through lifestyle and the lack of self-care, right?
Yeah.
And so you've got to just look at yourself as like, okay, if I'm feeling low on energy and I'm not being as productive and I'm not having the performance that I'm wanting to get, am I stuck in one of those cylinders? Or am I really looking at the entire machine or the entire biocomputer? That makes sense, right?
Yeah. Yeah. And I think, another important thing that we see and that is, really common is just we put the hands of our health in other people. And yes, there are a lot of people who have a lot of expertise in areas of health that we don't. But what's so important is that you become more of an advocate for your own health and that you're more aware of what's happening in your own body and you give yourself credit for that, right? A lot of times people just won't even allow themselves that credit of, hey, this is what's happening, or this food makes me feel this way, or this work makes me feel this way, or this relationship makes me feel this way. They sort of shrug it off and either pretend like it's not there, or they want someone else to tell them that whether it's good or bad for them. Mm-hmm. And so, that's kind of a one cylinder view too, is giving the power to everyone outside of you to say whether something is good or bad for you. So, one thing that's really, really key is for people to start cluing in on, how does this make me feel?
And in Elea, you're leading right into what I would call the second point here, and that's bioindividuality. Mm-hmm. And, what might be fuel for one person could be poison for you. And so many people jump on this one size fits all approach to their health. It's like, oh my God, Bob had amazing results with the power diet, right? Mm-hmm. I'm going on the power diet too. 30 days later, I've lost like 6 pounds, and 55 days later, I've gained back 10. Like, what happened there? Or there's no loss at all. Or, oh my gosh, look at Julie. She started taking B vitamins and a special type of D from the source that came out of the Nile River that only, chipmunks can go in and get. And I'm eating this. I'm taking this stuff.
Yeah.
And but I'm still feeling stressed out. I'm still not. I'm sleeping at night, but I'm waking up not feeling really that refreshed in the morning. So, when you're looking at the whole thing called the cylinder trap, a lot of us will get caught in like, oh, it worked for them, it must work for me. And you go from cylinder to cylinder to cylinder to cylinder to cylinder, and pretty soon nothing's really working for you. And that's because you have a unique biocomputer. I mean, our biocomputers all do the same thing for each of us, but each of us has a different system of circuit boards and components in it. The way that things are wired, the way that they respond, the type of fuel that they need. And I think that's really important. Would you agree?
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah.
And then that leads into our third point here. And that is, do you have the right fuel mix? So we talked about how even if you've got this amazing engine, you've got it tuned up, it's sparkly, it's shiny, you got a new air filter on it, you got the computer in there. But if your tank is full of bad gas, right, and you keep putting bad gas into the tank, are you really going to go very far? And how long is it before the engine just blows up and the computer room catches on fire? So you've got to look at like, do you have the right fuel in there? Right, Elea?
Yeah. And, the right fuel is not, again, the stuff that you just put, in your mouth and eat and digest. A lot of people don't realize that there is a massive, massive, correlation between what we're thinking and the amount of energy that we have. So what are you feeding your mind? That's a really key question, as well. So it's not just what comes on your plate, but also, what's in between your ears.
And this is a concept. This is a core concept that we hold dear and true at Move, Think, Smile, and that is, primary foods and secondary foods, or primary fuels and secondary fuels. And basically what that means is don't get us wrong. Nutrition is very important. The stuff that comes on your plate, the stuff that you put in your mouth is important, but so many people put an emphasis on what you put in your mouth as what determines your health, as what determines your energy, that they overlook the primary fuels of life. And in the grand scheme of things, primary fuels, there are 12 areas there. There's big four, there's career, relationships, spirituality, and movement. And then there's 8 ones underneath all of those. And if any one of those is off, you cannot out diet, you cannot out supplement, you cannot out medicate if one of your areas of primary fuels are off. So you have to look at the right fuel mix. It's not just what you're eating from a nutrition standpoint, but what are you feeding yourself? What are you fueling your biocomputer with? What are you fueling your energy with? What are you fueling that massive 1,000 power, 8-cylinder engine that you've been working on trying to fine tune your entire life to get out there and have the performance in your career, have the performance in your business so you can get what you really want. That's a little bit of freedom. A little bit of freedom to get out there and do the things you want, a little bit of energy to get out there and on the weekends and be able to have impact, not only on your customers and your clients, patients, or colleagues, but also your friends and your family.
Yeah. Yeah, because if there's one thing, that's really fascinating that tends to happen right off the bat when you're really exhausted is you settle for things you wouldn't normally settle for because you don't have the energy. You don't stand up for yourself in ways that you might because you don't have the energy and you don't feel like getting into an argument, quote unquote. Mm-hmm. You don't make the food choices that you could because you're too tired to prepare food. There's just a lot of things that happen when you don't have the energy. There's a big trickle down effect. And so I think for a lot of people are starting to really wake up and realize, man, if I don't have my energy, like it just trickles down into everything. So that's why it's so important.
So it's important now, guys, ask, are you stuck inside the cylinder trap? And there's a good chance you are, and you may not even need it or not even know it. And I think it's really important here, Elea, is to, when people start to realize that they're stuck in the cylinder trap, is to make sure that they understand that it's not their fault. Mm-hmm. This is the way that we've been operating as a society for a long time. We've watched our parents do it, our teachers do it, our friends do it, our aunts, our uncles. We read about this stuff all the time. We're bombarded by marketing messages day in and day out. Like, this is the magic pill. And guys, if I was going to say, if there was a magic pill to your performance, if there was a magic pill to, having a really amazing life, it's your health, right? And that health is a complex biocomputer that it's really challenging. And I have yet to see it, and maybe it exists out there, but I've yet to see it where you can get that biocomputer working without stressing out the circuits by just focusing on what we call one of the cylinders. You got to look at all of it.
Yeah.
And if you're struggling, to do that, and you'd like to maybe chat about how can you really get in there and look at all the cylinders, not just the cylinders, but the fuel going into the engine. So you are producing that 1,000 horsepower and you are getting the speed and the power and the results that you want. We invite you to come over to movethinksmile.com/talk, get on our calendar, pick a spot, and you'll chat with either Elea or myself, and we can get, kind of dive into the details, what's working with your energy, what's not working with your energy, how this is affecting you professionally, if it's having an effect on your personal life, where you want to go with things. And, and if we feel like we can help you close that gap and get you there, we can talk about that too. If not, we'll point you into the right direction. Just like this morning, I just pointed somebody to a really, really cool resource out there that had absolutely nothing to do with us. But in order to know that, guys, go in and book a call at movethinksmile.com/talk and get on the calendar. That's the only way we're going to know and just really understanding. And there's no cost for the call, just so you know. And Elea, not in any other parting shots?
No, I mean, I think, again, the main thing that I just really want to stress is that, for a lot of people, they feel like that they just, they can't take the time to take care of themselves and get their energy back, or it will happen after they reach X goal, or, oh, wow, that seems like a lot of time or money or energy to try to get my energy back, so I'm not going to. And just really, all the different ways we sort of circumvent ourselves and actually get in our own way to just really, really come back to this thing of you're worth it. It is important that you have your energy. And even again, for the biggest part of having the impact that you want to have on the people around you and your businesses and your career, it's vital. It's vital that you really do this.
Yeah, it's super critical, guys. And we don't, Move, Think, Smile. It's an incredibly powerful, incredibly simple system. It is not a magic pill. There is no magic pill involved. You can go down and watch any of the interviews we've done with our clients. It takes a massive amount of support and a really powerful system to really transform your health. But it can be done, and it can be done in a very short period of time. If you're willing to show up, engage, and do the work. So come on over to movethinkSmile.com/talk. Let's talk about what's possible. Let's talk about getting your mojo back, getting your energy back on fire, increasing your health, ultimately, increasing your performance, and ultimately maybe your happiness too, and a little bit of freedom there. Until then, guys, we'll see you next time.
Bye. Take care.